Hello, everyone. We are on Decentralized TV channel. I am your host and mastermind of ThinkTank community. My name is Sergey Sevantsyan, and I'm proud to be here with you, with our audience, and would like to tell about our today hosts, guests, and the people around the globe. They are well known around the community. They are well known people around the globe, and people can recognize what do they do now. And I can see that now ongoing trend is NFT, non-fungible tokens, and all this stuff is happening around that. I would like to give the word Fernando Martinho, but before that, I want to welcome George Sebastian. He's still in Dubai on his background. That it's really cool to see both of you together. I'm sure that so much people will arrive and join us. But now we're going to start from Fernando. The stage is yours. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Fernando. I'm the CEO of Unicorn. It's a new startup. We are still in stealth mode. And some of you will know me for quite some years already. And I've decided this time to do something with a little bit more fun. So I've been working on this NFT project for a while, I started back in September, but then I had to pause because I decided to help some guys, as some of you know. And I came for a period of time for about 4 months. And then when I kind of finished that period, I decided to go back to something I started at the time. And I'm really sorry. I wish I could share this with you, but Sergey, if he invites me to come again in a couple of weeks, I can tell you more about it. And I hope, people get excited. It's something fun, I think we need a bit of fun these days, to be frank,
Fernando, you're always welcome. Yes, these events, these NFT talks are ongoing weekly, on a weekly basis. That's why I'm sure that this hype is not gone so fast. And after 2 or 3 weeks, you're welcome, and you can spread with us for sure that information. We're eager to know. And the second, we will be happy to see what you do, because you have so many success projects, and this embarrassing, and this very interesting, and this very, becomes our on amazing and interesting stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so George, I think he might want to do an introduction, right, George?
George, if you're able to, or you can turn on your camera, it will be cool to hear from you too, because today or nowadays, NFT market is extremely growing, ongoing. Everyone becomes Elon Musk. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, NFTs are extremely hot. We're assisting in quite a few of the NFT projects. Some of these projects actually is to put in place marketplaces for NFT, as well the capability to actually create the minting of the NFTs as well. I do believe that we're still in the early days of NFTs. I think once we have environments that will be able to play the content of NFTs, whether it happens to be like a gallery for paintings or 2D or 3D objects, or it happens to be music, or it happens to be video, similar to YouTube, there is already some new markets that will use the smart contracts and the NFT creation to actually return value back to the creators of the NFT.
Cool, I'm sure that George is with us still, but I have a question to him, and maybe, I don't know how I'd say, my thoughts. Looks like we clearly see how the cryptocurrencies minting ongoing, but what do you mean when you're talking about NFT minting? How they will create it is just some, I don't know, another step of creation, yeah.
Okay, NFT stands for non-fungible token. There is actually 2 primary types of non-fungible tokens. There is one that it's one single token, but there's other ones that provide the capability of having multiple copies of the token. So you can have like a limited set. So you can do what's called fractional ownership with the tokens. You can use them, for example, for real estate, paintings, or or others. However, when you mint the token, it means the process by which you bind and you create the token and you bind it with the physical object that is part of that token. Now, sometimes that physical object is external. This could be, for example, object of art. It could also be a luxury item, or it could be an expensive item of clothing. So the NFT in that case becomes like a serial number for that object. If in the case the NFT actually includes the object of art, in this case 2D, 3D object or other, what you do is you have to include in the minting of the token the location in which that object is actually created. So we tend to use, for example, Internet Planetary File System, IPFS, as an example, where we actually store the contents of the image or the 3D object or the video or the audio. So once the token is actually minted, you have direct access to the content that matches the minting of that token. There's more than one way, but this is definitely the most preferred way today, because all of them actually use completely decentralized methods.
Cool. Fernando, what do you think? Just tell us a little bit more, maybe close, I don't know, open a little bit that door about Unicorn project, because I am so interested and so surprised, because something really interesting going to be happen. Just a couple of words, just tell us about what is it about?
What I'm sorry, I really can't, Sergey. You know, don't push me. You know, I can't. But you know, I want to expand on what George was talking. Yeah.
It will be good.
I think that the many people, and I disagree with one thing that George said about fractional ownership. Yeah, because for me, it goes totally against what an NFT is. NFT is the uniqueness. Yeah, is what you own, something that nobody does. Yeah, and that's what gives value to it. I don't think, well, first of all, I don't think there is much value of many people owning the same thing. Yeah. And think about, you have a picture of Mona Lisa, yeah, in real world, and you slice it and bits of it, you own a piece, I own a piece. You know, what's the point of that? Yeah. It's not unique. And there are things that then become, it becomes a security, in fact, okay? Because what defines a non-fungible token is that uniqueness. A house, one house is unique. You can NFT your own house, your car, you know, for example. Those are unique things, yeah? So there are here several angles, and I had this discussion actually in one of the NFT groups, and I was basically telling people that fractional ownership or slicing, or sorry, that some people were talking about a new service or a service they were thinking, I can't remember exactly, were thinking about to bring it back online, which is to fractionizing NFTs. And that's a security. Then you go into a totally different, it becomes fungible, you know, it's not non-fungible, yeah? And like I said, the second bit is really the uniqueness of it. You know, I want to own something that is unique, and that's what gives value of that something. Yeah. So yes, George is absolutely right. There are I think two groups that you can define. Well, there's more, but you know, at the top level are the ones that's just one that is unique, and then there's a collection of 10 of them. Yeah. That makes part of a pack of those NFTs. Yeah. I particularly do not like those. Yeah. That's a personal thing for me. Yeah. But that's just so people understand, that's what's happening out there. And some people they buy an entire collection, and there are packs that are a mix then of several, you know. I got one of those packs actually, which is a mix of several of them, and there's cool things happening around DC Comics, etc. You know, so I'm I'm a long-term fan. You know, I used to be collecting all those things when I was a kid, and the books from DC Comics, etc. You know, and so I've always been a geek, if you know what I mean, when it comes to that. But we need to be very, very careful when we talk about NFT and fractionalizing things. Yeah, fractional ownership of land or property, it's okay, you know, but you cross then kind of a line where something that is non-fungible becomes fungible. So you need to be very, very careful, you know, because though if you want to keep it that fungibility, you need to make sure that you don't fraction it. Yeah, because then you're actually issuing security, you know. It's so obvious. Yeah, so that's the only thing I wanted to mention as part of I'm sure George was talking about the fraction was probably the collection, right, George? Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Actually, there is 2 or 3 things that are important. I mean, one, what I mean by fractional ownership is the capability of having more than one person own. But this is through the fungible token itself, because when you create a fungible token, you create a limited edition of these fungibles. So that means it's predefined ahead of time. So it's not like, you know, for example, let's say Bitcoin or Ethereum, which has 18 decimal places. No, it's still non-fungible. So that means you create 100 editions. So for example, if you have, let's say, a collection of paintings or a collection of sometimes what we call prints, or you can say I issue 100 prints. So I issue 1 token for each print. That's one way. The second way, you can say I have the Mona Lisa, but I allow 100 people to own the Mona Lisa. So I define ahead of time the amount of, you know, members of the collection of that token. So it's not like you can divide the token endless number of times. It's a predefined number of times ahead of time. So it's very well structured and very well controlled. And this is actually part of the fungible token standard as well.
You know, guys, what I think about currency, just let me have my thoughts. When, for example, we're talking about just 1 Bitcoin, it's really have the possibility of amount, and it's not more than 1 Satoshi. Maybe it's so much and so big, but the 1 Satoshi is the smallest piece of 1 Bitcoin, and it's limited. It's real limited. Maybe something going to happen with the NFT. I'm talking about formats. We know that NFTs can to be on the 721 protocol and 1156, as I remember, if it's true. But second question I have, you know, guys, let me know what's the relationship between digital NFT asset. It refers, it links to the something, some picture, some music, or something else, and between the real world, between the something real picture I have. For example, what kind of picture? Maybe some this piece of paper. Yes, just looks like maybe it's a picture. I have to digitalize somehow this picture and make that relationship. But who care, or who should care that I cannot, or I do not able to give or send or just transfer this piece of paper to another person? Who going to, who going to keep that happening in between these 2 worlds, between digital and between real one? Because the regulators do the same, and it looks like we are giving new kind of job to our regulators, to our advocates, to our lawyers, and now they are going to create that ecosystem, or that, no, it's a market, that ecosystem which we're creating, that relationship between the digital and between real world, and make it happen. Fernando, what do you think about that? Because this question is so big and looks like it's do not has answer yet.
Sorry, I missed a little bit the first question because the sound was not going so well for me.
You know, there is not been a question. It's been somehow high. It's been a feedback or my thoughts about how do we see this world. Just let us know about the second part. How do we have relationship, or who goes to organize, who goes to regulate that relationship between our, for example, it's our picture and this digitalized picture one on which are trying to be in a digital world as NFT. How am I not able to transfer this picture to another person and do not do the same in NFT? For example, if you can buy from me this NFT token, but nevertheless, I can say, okay, I can do it. I can give it to my wife, or give it to my friend or someone else. How can you ensure in that I am as person be so fair with you, and you are going to be this owner who make that regulation happen, who make that relationship happen?
Look, I don't think we need regulations for everything. Yeah,
Cool.
and this,
Yes, it's a very good point. I love it.
That's why I think this one we don't need. We go to basic principles. Yeah. So let me go back to Mona Lisa. Yeah. How many copies are out there of Mona Lisa? I mean, you can find it. I can find. I can go to a market and I can find. Get one. It doesn't make it the true Mona Lisa. Yeah, the true Mona Lisa is in a museum. Everybody knows. Yeah. Now, how do you do this with NFTs and digital assets? It's called blockchain. Yeah. So once you have a picture, yeah, and once that goes into blockchain, there's a clearly identifiable ownership of that item, then you are the owner. There's so much, I'm sorry, I have to say there's so much BS out there by guys who do not, either they are spin doctors or they don't understand. Yeah, and they come, oh, yeah, I take a copy of this, now somebody else has the NFT. No, it doesn't. Yeah, you could take a picture of a Mona Lisa in a museum. It doesn't make that you have the Mona Lisa. So it's stupidity from people, or just spinners, that actually don't like NFTs, or for me, I think they just don't understand it, and I don't understand technology. Yeah? So there is no need for regulation. What we need to make sure is that there is a clear distinction and identifiable way to associate something that is physical, yeah, with, and I think, for example, if I'm NFTing my picture that I have here in the wall because I think it's great, yeah, if somebody buys my NFT version, the ownership, when you NFT that, you have to make sure that people understand that you'll also have ownership of the physical one, yeah. Now, if we bridge that gap and we make the person own, actually, if there is a physical item, obviously, not everything is a physical item, then, we are working towards the next step on making sure there is a link between the ownership of the physical item and of the digital item, yeah, when we're talking about art, for example, yeah. And if we do that, yeah, then I think we crossed very, very quickly, and I think those are, in my opinion, those are the items that are going to be more valuable in the future. When there is a physical item then associated with a digital item, it doesn't mean that the digital item is not valuable. It is, obviously. If it is unique, it is yours, and there is a value to it. Yeah, but I think there is going to be more value for things that are pieces of art that have digital and a physical version of it, yeah, or a physical version and a digital version of it was created, yeah. So that's my view.
Cool. Fernando, I want to mention one case too.
Oh, Rico is joining. Sorry, Rico is joining now. Just to let you
yeah, know. Cool. I was waiting for him too, but till he comes, the same story happening looks like every day with our passports. We are, as passport holder of ourselves, have to each and every time ensure that is we are. And when someone I don't know, take our passport. He says, I want to see your face. Just, I want to have a look. And he compares something appears in passport with you. Okay, this is passed. You passed it. Then could send me your name. Is it also matched to the name mentioned in the passport or something else? I have to be insured, for example, for libraries, for something else. This stuff is happening each and every day, and for me is very interesting why we do not still believe to the digital world. Because when someone appears, for example, here I'm talking with you, he say maybe it's not Sergey, it's someone, maybe his avatar created from somewhere else. I have to go to his home and sure and stay alone and say, just give me your passport, this hold or hold this one. And that's why maybe this digital world is so being looks like fake. That's why there is no so many people getting inside. But now the situation is changed. I want to have your comments too on this, my feedback, and I would like to welcome Rico. Rico, thank you for joining us.
Hey,
yes,
Rico.
you are eventually.
Hey guys.
Yes, maybe you have a word.
Yeah. So you're
Rico.
talking about digital passports, correct?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't really. I think digital passports are needed for many different reasons. Yeah. But, for NFTs, again, we were just talking about regulations if we need, it's non-fungible. We don't need regulations for that, we really don't. So when it comes to digital identity, yes, it's needed. We know we discussed about the blockchain, and George, Enrico, and I have been talking about this for many years already, okay? But more specific to the NFTs, Sergey, I don't see. It's just creating something else that I don't think is not gonna add value to the NFT ecosystem, to the NFT space. Many other things should be happening, but I think that digital identity, digital passport, whatever you want to call it, has to be created for many other different reasons, and so, that's my short answer to you, I'm sorry, but, I don't see really a reason for it to, but George might have a view on this as well.
Yeah, maybe George.
I believe that NFTs have much more application than just art. One simple example of that is we can easily use NFTs for either identity management, or we can use NFTs for things like, for example, certificates of graduation of a university. As you know, there's a lot of forgery of these items. So by creating an NFT of these items, then we ensure that they're authentic and not false.
Yeah, George, but that's a certification on authenticity, yeah, and I agree totally, yeah. But I think what Sergey was mentioning is more from a passport and digital identity perspective, yeah. And I don't see how that can be done. Yeah, I mean, you are a unique citizen. Yeah, your passport is a unique thing, and there's a unique number.
I want to believe in that, really. So
well,
many numbers of men.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to do that, but that can be all done through blockchain. Yeah, like in China, basically, and I spoke 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, no, 2 or 3 years ago, I started to speak about that. That China was going to introduce a national DLT, yeah, where every citizen gets a hash key. That's your unique identifier on that ledger, and then everything you do financially, goes into that ledger. Receiving a salary, buying a coffee through being in the WeChat QR codes or whatever app, Alipay.
Logging in somewhere, it's
doesn't matter. Yeah. So that digital identity is just, it already exists, yeah. There's a unique identifier, a hash key, and you apply that to anything out there, yeah. Being then to issue an NFT, which is a certificate of authenticity, yeah, for example, or certification associated with that unique, hash key that it is you, yeah, because that identity is already on a national ledger or whatever, I don't think, actually, I think most countries will follow China steps in creating that, I just have a feeling because, governments like to be authoritative, so they like to be in control and, know everything about everyone. So it's going to happen eventually to everyone,
Cool. Rico, turn on your mic, please. I have noted that Fernando has very good project. We're going to talk about few weeks later, and it's named Unicorn. What kind of unicorn you've been engaged in? I'm talking about NFT space. It's very interesting to know about from you too. Yes, Fernando muted, but with Fernando, you are muted. Turn on your mic. You are talking with us.
Sorry, I said Rico knows about it, but I didn't tell him yet what it is.
No. Yes, Rico.
Well, I think there are so many unicorns in the market, obviously, and Fernando is doing one of the unicorns, as we are all aware, and we are looking forward to the launch. We are doing a marketplace for NFTs, and we are looking at NFTing not only just art collectives, we are also looking at NFTs for real estate. So the project name is called Dreammaker, and we are in the midst of finalizing all the tech side, and we'll be launching it very soon. So stay tuned. That's from our side. Yeah.
Rico, tell us now how our dreams you can make happen. Because you are going to tell about Dreammaker. Maybe it looks on that way or not?
Yeah, it's dreamsmaker.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on the site, it's still under construction. But obviously, that's what we aim to make it a dreams maker for everyone. Everyone can make their dreams come true. That's the vision and that's the objective. So which is why we are making sure that things are good to go before we launch it. But I think Fernando's unicorn is going to launch before us. So let's see what Fernando is. We'll see what Fernando is going to bring to the table next month. And we're going to say, yeah, fuck you, Fernando. This is not a unicorn. It's a super unicorn, right? It's going to take like all the unicorns in the past. It's nothing compared to Fernando's super unicorn. So
well, I already gave a tip. It's a bit of fun. So don't think it is, just another swap or, something like that. It's just fun because for me, it's like George says, not everything is about art or about comics, NFT can be applied to many things. Yeah. So, but I decided to do something fun for now, one of the things that I think, and Rico is going to laugh about this, but one of the things that he knows why, yeah, and you guys will know why in 1 month. But the end goal for NFTs is the metaverse, full stop.
Yeah.
And he knows what I'm talking about. It's the end game. Nothing else, When we talk about NFTs, yes, if we go more into the business side, where you can apply the non-fungibility, to unique things, then it has nothing to do with metaverse, and all the fun side and so on. It has more to do with business practice, business process. You want to be in place, avoid forgery, avoid so many things. But you need to be careful because let's not blow up now that NFTs are, or put the name NFTs on everything. Just because you fractionize something, don't start to call it NFT. It doesn't matter if you fractionize a property or or a conference stand, for example. You can't. That's not NFT. It's just not. Yeah? I mean, I'm sorry, but I think I know.
I know whom I have to bring here, but I'm sure he is listening. He's listening now. Yeah.
So again, we all know who. Yeah.
So I mean, there is always the fun part, and there is the business side, and we have to understand the end game for anything that is not really business related. On making that uniqueness about something, then it is all about metaverse. The rest, nothing else. Okay, and if we go then one step behind that, just remember how AI came about. Yeah, this is an evolution. Yeah, and I've been in a lot of this stuff. AI, or what people call AI. Yeah, it's really about re-automating things that we interact with in the world. Yeah, and making those things clever by applying AI, you know? So we're digitizing things, and then we make things more clever, and that's where AI comes in, yeah? So everything that you interact in the world with, yeah, is also becoming more clever and connected, all on the cloud, all on the internet, yeah? So now, at the same time came, you know, crypto, digital money, call it whatever you want to call. And the evolution of that is now, you know, digitizing all of those unique things that you have also in the physical world, yeah? And making it an electronic version of it, yeah? Making, well, the value is still the same that you give by any physical. It's up to you to decide what the value is. But the end game for this, yeah, is the metaverse. Yeah, that's the next step, yeah? And that's why when you hear people like Rico, myself, or Dunstan, or George talk about metaverse, that people need to understand what it is, yeah? And then everything starts to make sense.
Cool. You know, guys, just yesterday with Russian community, with Russian speakers, I'm sorry, not Russian community, with Russian speakers, with people who are just speaking in Russian, I'm also been too. We have a case with OpenSea and not yet with Rarible, when some creation or some designing stuff we put up there and put it there with the violations of, or how I say, with violations of the ownership of that asset. For example, I can bring some picture from Mona Lisa, and I put it and say, now this is mine. And OpenSea as platform accepted. And now I'm good. And now after 1 week or just after 4 or 5 days, after that, OpenSea realized that movement. They clearly say, wow, what do? We have accepted Mona Lisa on our website or on OpenSea. Let's stop it. And somehow all that Mona Lisas disappeared from the site, disappears from the gallery, and it becomes the ownership violence and ownership fake to the people which are already bought that Mona Lisa from someone else. I don't know how that case will be issued, how be solved, but looks like this case or these issues already happened with OpenSea platform too, and no one knows how it's going to be treated by the law, by the regulators, or by someone, because someone bought something which will be stolen and it happens on an OpenSea. Do you have maybe any reply or any suggestions, or just share your thoughts, please? Because we get really embarrassed and don't understand what do we gonna do in this case. George, maybe you guys, looks like you don't understand me.
See, what happens is that when you have a digital version of something, it's very easy to replicate. So somebody else took a copy of an existing digital art creation, says, well, I have a copy of that NFT, so therefore I have the same as that NFT. That is not the same. However, if it's a 100% digital copy, it's a bit different than a Mona Lisa. So that's why it's important not just to have a digital copy, to have a unique way in which you attach a serial number to that digital copy. If you're not able to do both at the same time, it becomes quite easy to forge. And this obviously creates an issue, and that's what people are trying to highlight. That means I will go around and take somebody else's NFT tokens. I will create another version of them and I'll sell them again a second time. And this is a potential problem that needs to be addressed, especially in the digital world, where it's very easy to copy something digitally.
My view on that, I think I said a bit about that, is that, again, it's common sense from people, yeah? If I go here to, I don't know, Portobello Road on the market on Saturday, and I see one guy with a digital version of Mona Lisa, and then I walk 20 more meters, I see another guy selling the same, you know, it's the same thing. People are copying, putting somewhere else for sale, yeah? So what? You have to be savvy. You need to understand that that is not the real, yeah, thing, yeah? So how do you know about the real thing? That is the question. Yeah, I think what it needs to be done, and this is an idea that I already have. Okay.
Some unique.
I don't know if I should talk because
yeah?
Rico and I and George maybe want to create a platform for this. It's something that I was thinking today. Okay. So I don't know if I want to share this now. Okay, Sergey, but there is a way to do it. Yeah. The I think the most important aspect that I want to bring to the conversation is that we are getting too much into, oh yeah, somebody's going to copy and somebody's going to make the same copy on another platform. Yeah. On Rarible, for example. Yeah. And so what, you find copies of everything everywhere these days, even your Gucci shoes, you go to a market, there's a copy there. Does he make the real Gucci shoes? No, of course not. Yeah. So it is about you being savvy. Yeah. Now, how do you find what are the original ones? Yeah. And that's where what George said, there needs to be a certification that is visible to people that this is the real one. Yeah. Now, in physical art items, we know that the valuable ones are either in museums, yeah, or it doesn't matter, art or not, yeah, collectibles, baseball, whatever card, yeah, from 1967, from player, whatever, yeah, we know that those are physical items and somebody owns them, and it's easily verifiable because it's a physical item. The question here is then, how can that be verifiable in a digital way? Remember, the real ones, and this is only what I'm going to say, yeah? They are on blockchains. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's on Ethereum or it is somewhere else. Yeah, but they are there. Yeah, and it's very easy to find if that's the real one. The rest is just common sense. Why should you buy something that, I could pick up on Beeple now and put it on BSC? Will somebody buy it? Everybody say, no, because it's well known. This is fake. Yeah. So I think people are thinking too much. This is the overthinking people, and there's people going to come up with trying to find a way to track these and whatever, and it's overthinking. There's no need for that type of thing. Yeah. There's only one thing needed. Yeah. That's in here. They probably already know what I'm talking about, but honestly, it is something that could be actually quite a good platform to create, and gives all of that visibility, Well, I'm gonna say it, it will be an aggregator of all of our valuable items that have been traded, basically. Yeah, a platform that does that, because then people know, this was sold, that's the original, that's the certification, that's what it is there, and problem solved.
And that's it. Yes, and that's it. George,
So
maybe
simple.
you want to add something, because I have another question.
No, for me, everything is on for all the comments that have been made so far. I do believe that the biggest advances that are going to come on NFTs are going to be on the marketplaces and the streaming worlds and the metaverses, where these NFTs will actually play a role. The guy in South India, which bought an NFT for 69 million, most people are laughing about it, but he's not laughing because he's going to make 5 or 10 times the amount that he paid for that NFT.
It was very clever, George.
He's a smart guy.
Very, very smart guy.
As simple as that.
Okay.
Rico, you're silent. Rico is taking a call.
Okay, cool. I want to find the reason and the value in NFT as phenomena, because no one clearly understands what the value of that of that format or of that token. No one understands. Everyone want to speculate. Everyone just realize that he gonna be the owner of something. But in real life, it works just another way. In real life, it works just in your head, in your imagination. But in real life, it's not works in that way. And that's why I'm so focused on sharing or spreading that information about where is the valuation of that NFT is. Because when you are going to have or to own something in NFT case, you just have that hash key, have relationship to something somewhere. And when aggregator or when platform on where ecosystem or gallery created, and they can ensure you that you are the one person which has ownership of that asset, it's the right way to operate in all of that system, in all of that stuff, and no other ways, unfortunately. But I wanted to know also the use cases, real use cases of the NFT. Because, for example, if we're going to the blockchain, few or 3 years ago, so many companies come into the market and say, okay, we know what to do. We have to add that blockchain word to our companies and make it happen. Now it's become hype. Now it has so many success on the market, and all the crypto space going to jump in and buy our stuff. Unfortunately, this not happens. The same story happening with the art, the same story happening with the designers, with the people which are starting to do unique things. Unfortunately, the market has dead, or it not appears everywhere, and now they has another way of hype. Now they can jump into the NFT, create their own NFT, and looks like everything will grows up, all the money is coming to. Is this working? Do people clearly understand what do they do or not? I want to get the aware and understand that value, that guys, let us know it do not works in that way. Please be aware about this, and that. Fernando, what do you think? You're muted. You are muted.
You spoke about so many things, you know. I kind of got, sorry, I lost a bit track there, but you talk about your real use cases, yeah? You want to hear about them, yeah?
Yeah. I want to hear about use cases where NFT is really applicable. Not using NFT, how I'd say, in a tokenizing an event, any stage or something like that. Just jump into the real world, jump into the ground, nor in imaginations.
Yeah. So there is many applications, you know. We already talked about fractional ownership and all that, but you know, let me tell you something that you can do for very valuable items, you know, being unique items or not. Yeah. So it could be, I don't know, the leather jacket from Elvis Presley, for example. It's a collector's item. Yeah.
You know, this shirt really unique, because when you download the application and put it on this car is going in something campus. Really, this one, yes, I'm talking about this. So this can be NFT, and I can ensure about ownership of this shit.
Yeah. So continue to talk about that. Is let's say I mean, it could be Elvis, it could be something else, yeah. But stick to a jacket that is valuable. It could be a Louis Vuitton jacket or whatever, yeah. I'm not very much into Louis Vuitton jackets, but I don't know if they exist even, you know. I know they do shoes, but and bags and so on. But let's stick to that. You could just basically use a high frequency RFID, yeah, for example, yeah, because the phones can read. Your NFC on the phones can read high frequency RFIDs. Okay, so RFIDs are so cheap now. You could put almost on everything and increase the cost by a few cents, you know, on every single item. Once you do that, for valuable items or not even valuable items, think about a lot of. We come back again to the blockchain discussion. You know, we discussed for so many years, and George so many times as well, for supply chains, for example, how to track everything. Yeah, that RFID has one thing and one thing only there: that hash key that is on the blockchain. That's the unique item. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's a bag or if it's a collector's item. You know, there's so many use cases that you can actually track. You know, that is the original thing. Yeah, or because we come back over and over again, we cannot confuse fungible with non-fungible. We cannot call NFT to everything. Yeah, in the real world. But you know, when you buy that Louis Vuitton bag, yeah, it's tagged. It's there. But I mean, think well. Is that an NFT? It is, if they only make 50 of those, potentially. Could be considered. Yeah, because you are owner of one unique thing. Yeah. Now, if you actually go into, I don't know, because they do. Yeah. 10,000 bags, Louis Vuitton, you basically are just doing is a tagging of your items through a supply chain to prove authenticity, like George said, you know. Now, where is the NFT going to come? Probably the certification of that bag, yeah? Not the actual bag itself. The value is actually certificate that says that's Louis Vuitton, not the actual bag, because the bag is fungible. When you produce 10 or 20 or 30,000 items, they are not unique from my perspective, you know. Yeah, we can get into a lot of discussions about this, but you know, what is going to, we then start to get, when we look at this in real world, yeah, we start to get mixed. There's a very thin line there between supply chains and tracking items through supply chains and applying RFID tags and have on the RFID that unique hash key, you know, that identifies the item. But in collector's item, absolutely, you know, you could just put an high frequency RFID tag on any phone with a NFC and an app that can read the RFID. You can say, hey, yeah, this is a real one. Now, in digital items, yeah, again, we will need to embed into some of those products. So if I, for example, create something digital, yeah, I don't know, a piece of art, a digital piece of art. But if I have a physical version as well, what I want to make sure is I tag that physical version, yeah, with an RFID that has that unique hash key associated with that NFT as well. I mean, it goes both ways, yeah. So we come back again to discussion about art, yeah. But in the real use cases, we have to be careful how we say where we apply NFTs in the real world, in real use cases, because there's a thin line about blockchain and supply chains and, you know, an RFID tagging that makes unique and track that makes unique. No, makes sure that we can track an item that is original. Yeah, just because it's original, it doesn't mean it's unique. Do not confuse the both. Yeah, being original and having a certificate, yeah, that say this is Louis Vuitton, doesn't make that thing unique, because you go to the same shop, you buy the same exactly the same bag. What he has is that certificate that could potentially be NFT to prove the authenticity. Yeah?
It's insurance into ownership. It's insurance for ownership.
But again, Sergey, there is already products with blockchain that provide authenticity for products. Yeah, that's supply chain. So is it really NFT, that authenticity certificate? We go back to the conversation about blockchain, you know, and tracking of throughout the supply chain and making sure things are authentic. Yeah, I don't know, Rico. If you,
Rico, go ahead.
I'm talking too much. Now it's your turn.
Sorry, coming from a supply chain management background, you know, you don't need blockchain to do all these things. right? It's already a done process and system in place. You have a lot of products in the market that does this. But with the new NFTs that we have in the market, when the innovations is about cutting off all the middlemen and creating a transparency of the data you have in the supply chain. That changes the ballgame because of the keyword, who is not here, cutting off the middleman. The benefits between different value chain has been removed. And this saving is a pool where the buyer, consumer can save, and the supplier, the producer can make more. So this is what it is by cutting off the middleman through this sort of integration and systems. And it's changing the way we look at things, the way we spend, especially now with COVID-19, everyone buy things online, direct to the source, you know, that changes the way we think about things and process information. I think this is key in the current world, that this is happening now, and which is why people see the value and how to apply NFTs into different assets and different supply chain businesses. And I think that's what, you know, Fernando is building on a new unicorn on, in digitizing new assets. If we apply this concept into real estate, then the property agents will ask, what the fuck are you doing? You're taking us out of the picture. The buyer and seller can just deal directly. The owner of the house or the property can deal directly with the renter directly without the agent. Then what are we for? This is a conflict. And this is why this is disruptive in different industries, such as the real estate. Because the transaction amount is big in the real estate compared to any other industries. Or maybe you can take away the auction of an antique. They're out of the picture because the auctioneer can deal directly with the owner of the collective antique through an NFT contract, right? So this is an example of how a simple NFT can be created. But at the same time, if you apply the NFT into a gaming industry, it creates a different layer and much more benefits as we design the games, you know, and all the functions and power that you can put into the characters of the assets on what it can do in a virtual, you know, asset or a game. That changes how the value of this NFT compared to just another collective or just another asset that you can transfer over directly. So we are dealing with different type of NFTs in the market at the moment. And many people still do not know what the hell is an NFT. There's a huge range of disconnect here in terms of the knowledge about NFTs. So as all of us are here, we should be educating people about how NFTs can be used and what benefits it bring to different industries. I think this is why there's so many opportunities in NFTs market at the moment. And there's so many market that could be disrupted due to this change of this tech. It's not as complicated as a SaaS tech. It's not as complicated as a SAP. It's much more simple than that, because all you need is to get a coder who knows how to code an NFTs and a smart contract into it.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, but you know, apart from one thing, yeah, why we don't need blockchain? Yeah, I mean, there are other technologies, you know, we can use, but blockchain, what it gives is that traceability and transparency, because the biggest problem in supply chains is the transparency. You don't know where it's originated from in a lot of things, yeah. So being the prawns that are supposed to be in Thailand farmed, yeah, but they were in the back, you know, garden of some guy in India. You know, you have to watch that documentary on BBC. I was shocked, you know, I'm not joking, you know. So, I mean, there is And we come always back to the conversation about blockchain. So you are right, not every people don't understand what NFTs are, And I remember even in art, okay, I remember in 2015 or 16, I can't remember, I met Ulvi Kazimov. Yeah, he's a Russian billionaire in London. He lives most of the time between London and Russia. And he had just bought the .art top level domain. Yeah. And he, we were discussing about me coming as a CTO, work with him and pushing all of that forward. The idea at the time was actually using blockchain, yeah, but associate with every piece of art in the world and music, yeah, songs, artists, with a .art subdomain. So that will create the uniqueness as well, yeah, because you'll get an IP address. Yeah, for your IP address associated with a subdomain, or with a domain .art domain. Yeah, so Mona Lisa .art, whatever people .art. So you would need blockchain. You're right, Rico. Yeah, so he was already ahead of time. Huvi Kazimov. Okay, and if he hears this, he's probably going to call me. But I actually thought the idea was amazing at the time, but I got involved with other things, and he's a very busy man, So I never went through ahead with him with that. And this was back in 2016 or 15, I can't remember. Oh, and Denise was involved in that as well. It was actually Denise that introduced me to him. So there are things that you don't need to use blockchain or blockchain associated things. There are other ways to do it, But I think the NFTs part, what I'm excited about, and Rico, I know he is as well, and Dunstan and so on, is actually all the fun part of it. Yeah, collectibles, yes. Art, music, all of that stuff is great. When it comes to business, you have to be very careful, because the discussions always end up being, it becomes a security, fractionizing, whatever, or it comes back to discussion on blockchain. You can do that. There's already supply chains to do that, So even the authenticity of a product or original product don't need to be NFT. A hash key from a blockchain gives you that. Yeah. How we represent that could be an image, yeah, that is associated. It could be a RFID tag in the product, a high frequency RFID tag, okay, on a product, and you scan with your app, yeah, and you see straight away it's the original not. So if you're going to a shop to buy something, you will know if you're buying your original product or not. But it's not an NFT. That's my point. We have to be very careful when we say real use cases or NFT, and I go, yeah, tell me about it. They're not NFTs. You're just fractionizing something, yeah, like a stand, for example, or sorry, it just makes me laugh. And,
oh my god!
And he knows it. He knows it because I look, I don't want to get into that discussion. We're friends, but anyway. But you have to be careful about these things. What you call an NFT and what is not an NFT. If you put several things together and then you say, yeah, this is an NFT, probably, yeah, probably I can mix, I don't know, a wheel of a car, a chair, that I have at home with a T-shirt, and I can NFT. That's a unique thing. Nobody has ever created that. Yeah. Do you understand? So we have to really be careful about how we go into. For me, the fun bit of it, Rico is. Rico and I would talk a lot, but we have to be very careful about NFT. And for me, being really frank with you, it is all about the fun side. Yeah. Collectibles, games, whatever you want to call it, of things that are unique and that can give you value, that's all.
No, guys, what I feel, so many things comes up in a new world, that it's not relates to the money anyhow, and it's not be treated for money or even done for money or even be created for using that money, because so many things come up.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sergey. How long you been?
Matters, really.
Sergey, how long you been in crypto?
You know, I am coming to the crypto just for one point. I see that Microsoft company where I'm working for, looking for the Ethereum platform in a, how I'd say, in a programmable way. And I really get excited. Why do so huge company, it's the biggest company of the application creating, they are looking for something on Ethereum? I really get excited. What do we do there? And that's the point where I come and jump into the crypto. Okay. That's why I'm here. I'm also eager to know what's happening inside, where the technical values in this smart contracts. And it's happening in 2016. George, maybe you are going to add to our conversation at the end of today's event something unique but non-fungible, just fungible to our to our audience.
Well, I think the thing unique about NFTs is that they're going to bring us a very unique return on investment. I'll leave it at that.
For sure. That's for sure, George. You know, and that's the end game in crypto. You know, the people can say, yeah, there's more than just money. Come on.
NFTs have been around, you know, for 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Nobody talked anything about them. First time was when the CryptoKitties came around and it shut down the Ethereum network because it was not Ethereum network had trouble keeping up. But I think with the Binance chain, we got a chance at least.
You know, George, the CryptoKitties are alive on their own platform, and the name is Flow. I think all of you really know about that. The NBA is up there, Disney also there, and they are going to create. They are already get created, and that company now over 1 billion company. Now it's really a unicorn on market. Guys, I'm really thankful to all of you for this thoughtful and very valuable conversation. I want to be hope that our audience also enjoy our presence and can be sure that all of us are really creators of the future, I'd say future unicorns on this huge and interesting market called blockchain and crypto. Thanks to all of you. I will welcome you each and every week on our NFT talks. Thanks a lot. I want to say you goodbye for now. See you later, guys. Okay.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.